Hello John, today we're going to talk about the decline of towns and villages in Ireland. You were recently in the south of Ireland and you're going to discuss Killarney, Listowel and Newcastle West.
That's right, and we visited Killarney there in the past 2 weeks. We were there for 5 or 6 days, and on the way down, but particularly down in Killarney and its scenic places around it. First of all, the hotels are doing a marvellous business in Killarney. They are practically full, and they're certainly full at weekends. And when we were there, they were nearly practically full. And this was in April, towards the end of April, and not a holiday particular period for people that are working. So it was marvellous to see the crowd in the town, and the weather was very nice for a change, sunshine. So, and traffic was fairly heavy in Killarney, beg your pardon. Now, one thing we noticed, because we stayed in hotels, and we stayed in 2 different hotels and visited other hotels. As regards to hotels in Killarney, one of the things that I thought was very short-sighted on behalf of the hoteliers themselves, in that they had a lot of foreigners, East Europeans at reception and in various other parts of the hotel, particularly obviously the cleaning staff. When I say obviously, it shouldn't be. I presume heretofore, years ago, it was Irish people did all the cleaning and all the rest of it, and did it fairly good. As a matter of fact, years ago, you could leave your shoes outside the door at night time and they'd be polished to a nice shine in the following morning by what they call the boots. Now, in the hotels where we were, where there was East Europeans, there was an odd token Irish person. But when you asked them a question about anything, their command of English was little or nothing. So for the visitors that are coming to Killarney, most of them are American, various other parts of the world, because we heard all accents, but quite a few American and quite a few English accents, and of course Irish accents. But if they're looking for directions and information from the reception staff in the hotels, I don't know how they can acquire it, because these East Europeans and foreigners only know what it is that they're dealing with in the hotel. They're not really au fait with the various attractions throughout Killarney and Kerry. So that's a negative that we came across, and I have not heard anyone else talking about that, but it deserves to be spoken about. The next thing we noticed when we visited some of the scenic sites, one place we visited was Ladies View. Now, it sounds a lovely title, Ladies View, but we heard that it was to do with old Queen Victoria, the British monarch, who during the famine gave the same amount to a dog's home in Battersea as she gave to the relief of the famine victims, where 1 million Irish citizens died of starvation in the 1850s. Now, Ladies View, she was up there, and apparently with her ladies in waiting, so it got the name Ladies View, which is a very peculiar thing to call it Ladies View as a result of Queen Victoria. I mean, much better if it was ladies, Irish ladies, perhaps, that they were naming it after. In any event, there's a business premises behind it where you can have tea or coffee or buy some souvenirs, etc. And we went in there, and Julie, my wife, was in there, and she made a query to one of the staff about directions. And it turned out that the staff there, the 3 ladies that were in this particular shop and restaurant, were actually East Europeans. And one of them gave one direction and the other gave another direction. So if you were a tourist, we were tourists, but we're Irish, so we know where things are. but you would be confused because you were told two different ways to go to a particular place, and only one of them was right. So this is a defect, like if you go into shops and suddenly in Ireland and you're dealing with people from some part of Eastern Europe, I don't see the sense to that in Killarney that is famous in song and story. That's an example in Killarney, and it's a very poor reflection on the management of these hotels that they see fit to have staff from all these other countries other than Ireland, which would make sense. As a matter of fact, jobs that Irish people could do should always be for them, and if there's some jobs that they cannot do, then perhaps some person from another country can do it. But reception duties and various other duties in hotels can be very well done by Irish people, which they were heretofore, and they were in great demand on the continent because they were so good in the hospitality sector. So it's very difficult to understand the mentality of the people in Tralee in the tourism business.
In Killarney.
In Killarney. And of course, no, that's Killarney. The other part that we were in Kerry was we were in Tralee, and we had a meal there, and we were surprised there again at the amount of East Europeans, Africans, and people from other jurisdictions in a town like Tralee, which one doesn't understand as to how they can all be housed. They must have built a lot of houses in Tralee, and it seems a very peculiar situation to go into restaurants or to go into places, which we actually went into and dined very nicely. And it turned out that the three men running this particular very busy restaurant, and people could eat outside, which they did, and inside, and it was very well run. And it turned out there were three gentlemen from East Europe and from different parts of East Europe. They weren't all from the same part, but they were pulling very well, and there was no conversation. They just got on with their work, and they were pleasant to deal with, but except that it was three people from outside. So that's another example, and various other places we're in the town was the very same thing. And of course we noticed in that town, Tralee, and in Killarney, and in some of the other towns that we're in, I'll speak to them about them now in a second, but we have these German discount stores, and unfortunately they're destroying the family businesses in the town, so that the towns in some respects looked like deserted villages with closed shops. We saw that in Tralee, we saw some evidence of it in Killarney, and we certainly saw a lot of evidence of it in Newcastle West, and to a very lesser degree in Listowel.
Overall, you were impressed with Listowel?
I was very impressed with Listowel. I thought it was a very nice, well-designed town. And one of the features one of the items that I admired was a memorial to the Presentation nuns in the square near the Catholic Church in Listowel, thanking them, very well presented, thanking them for their what they did for education in Listowel from 1844 to 2007, because it was the Presentation nuns, the Presentation brothers, Christian brothers and others, that educated the Irish people when there was no one else to do the job. As soon as Ireland got its Catholic emancipation in 1829, it wasn't too long until they could be Catholic children could be educated, and the Presentation nuns and various other religious orders and nuns and brothers were the ones that gave us the education. They get, except in Listowel, to its credit, they get very little thanks for the noble work that they did in providing education for countless generations of Irish people, boys and girls. I was even educated by the Presentation Brothers myself, I'm glad to say, and it was a very happy experience. Not like what we hear referred to in my time as if it was somehow the dark ages. It was a very happy, good time with none of the problems that the media keep yapping about.
Thank you very much, John Malone.
Thank you very much.